What is digital literacy? Okay, so digital literacy is the ability to find, evaluate, use, share, and create content using digital technologies. So, being able to locate them online via search engine, knowing how to evaluate them with those search engines and conduct additional research, how to share that information, and how to evaluate it, right? Evaluation is also really, really important. Digital literacy will involve both technical and cognitive skills, right? So the ability to actually go through the process, knowing the mechanics, being able to familiarize yourself with the mechanics if you don't know them, as well as cognitive skills, right? Kind of knowing what comes next, what might go together well, what two platforms might be able to work together, things of that nature. But the main thing to understand is that digital literacy extends beyond basic computer skills. So it's more than knowing how the computer works, but also understanding how to critically utilize the different program software abilities that your not only computer but digital platform software has and how to integrate them together. So digital literacy is very important and constantly evolving. How does digital literacy differ from computer literacy? So, digital literacy differs from computer literacy in that digital literacy is much more focused on the social and ethical dimensions of the impact of digital components, literacy, and softwares, whereas computer literacy is more so talking to you about how they function. Right. So we're worried about function and impact, as well as acknowledgement of where those sources came from and who is creating them when we're talking about digital literacies and digital literacy practices. How do we function in this space? Not only how does this space function? For clarity, digital literacy includes media literacy, online etiquette, and content creation. Why is digital literacy important in today's society? Well, for a plethora of reasons. Digital literacy equips individuals to be able to navigate the digital world and avoid fear mongering through misinformation and disinformation, understanding how to access space, how to navigate space, knowing what's real and what's fake. Literacy is essential to all of that. Arguably, digital literacy is should be seen as a form of civic engagement. We are responsible for understanding what is on the internet or out in digital spaces and what is real and what is fake and how to navigate those spaces. Arguably, digital literacy has five major core components that is going to be access, analyzation, creation, reflection, and communication. With accessing and digital literacy, we want to make sure that we have the ability to locate and use the digital tools and content that we need, right? So that's going to make sure that the tool meets the needs that we have effectively and that it is the best tool that is out now that we can have access to. And then actually being able to navigate the tool itself so that we can use them, right? Making sure that the audience that we have selected this tool for will have access to it, whether it's about the internet access, where and how they need to access that tool. Do they need access to a phone? Do they need access to a laptop? Can they do it from an iPad, right? Access is really important in the first component to digital literacy. All of your access points covered and clarified. The second thing is going to be analyzation, which we kind of talked about a little bit. Access, right? So I went and found it, but now I'm going to critically think about the tool that I'm using. Is it the best tool? Have I done enough research on the tool? And once I apply it to the digital environment that I'm talking about, is it going to give me the feedback, evaluation, performance that I need for this particular skill set that I'm trying to develop or outcome that I'm trying to receive? And if it's not doing that, how do I pivot? Right. But the ability to analyze and think critically about our digital tools that we are using is integral. The next is to create. Yes. Developing and publishing original content ethically. Ethics are so important, as is rigor, right? As is scholarship, as is peer review. But with digital literacy, creating content ethically, not stealing, If you borrow, knowing how to cite the original sources where the information came from, sometimes even when you're borrowing a source, they didn't cite their information correctly. So you're still participating in these forms of plagiarism and theft that are rampant in digital platforms right now, because it's the Wild West, right? And we're trying to figure out what's happening in these spaces that are constantly being created, which is really, really exciting. But creation is important, right? Knowing how to create in the space, how to publish original content, how to respect the original content that is already out there. All of that is a part of digital literacy, which may not necessarily be a part of computer literacy. The next thing is reflection. In digital literacy, reflection is very important. So now that we know we haven't stolen anything, how we talked about the impact that it's going to have on the community that we're referencing, the impact it will have on the people who are playing the game, the impact that it will have on the people that created the game, right? So what is the impact of your digital action? Not only of what you create, of what you share, because misinformation is a thing, disinformation is a thing, right? So reflecting on your digital practices, what you do, how you do it, when you do it, all of these things are part of being digitally literate. Last but not least, communication. Effective communication and interaction on digital platforms. So, what's really cool about a lot of our new digital literacy practices is communication happens in so many different ways. So, not only do we have traditional online emails, but we also have like messaging and voice clips and video calls and video clips and links and information gathering systems and mood boards and whiteboards, right? We have so many ways to effectively communicate online. Which tool is the best for the job that is happening? Is there a platform where we can like mix all these different types of digital communication together? And yes, the answer is yes, because these platforms are always evolving and responding to the needs of the community. How has the definition of digital literacy evolved over time? Awesome, great question. So, digital literacy started off as a synonym, right? A basic term, jargon term for basic computer skills or computer skill sets. But now, when we talk about digital literacy and digital literacy practices, it means media literacy and critical consumption, right? The way that we intake information, especially in digital spaces, and making sure that that's going through a critical lens and that it's not just being embedded into our person and psyche and being taken as truth at a first hand, right? Critical literacy gives us the ability to evaluate what we find in digital spaces and not take it as fact. Digital literacy now includes, outside of just computer skills, it includes collaboration with people who may not be as tech savvy, who may be more creation based, whereas one other person might be more code based, right? And them coming together and creating something in these digital spaces. It's also about problem solving and 100% about content creation, right? What we create, how we create it, and who we create it for, and the audiences outside of who we created for. Digital literacy allows us the opportunity to reflect socially, ethically, and culturally on decisions that we make in our digital practices and the things that we create and how it informs and affects not only our communities, but the communities that are influenced by our work, right? Digital literacy is a constantly evolving term and it will continue to evolve because digital literacy is always evolving, right? When we think about AR and VR and AR and XR, right? Artificial intelligence, virtual reality, augmented reality, extended realities, mixed realities, right? All of these different types of digital learning, digital environments, digital realities, worlds, ecosystems that are being developed. Our term is going to, and our jargon around this space is going to continue to grow and evolve. And it's a really, really exciting time to be in the space. And I'm glad to be here. So if you need any more tech updates, be sure to follow, like, and share the page.